लिख देते हैं, उसके साथ we add another sentence to them and we make them independent to convey the complete meaning, and that is called class. So let's our today's topic is also class. Like what is class? We are going to discuss this. All right. Now this is very easy topic and also very important topic, because before sentence we must also understand the class and phrase as well. So let's take a start. What does it mean, class? The first and the very common and the very basic idea about class, that what is class. If someone asks you what is class, you should and you can say subject plus verb agreement is called class. Like we know in sentence there are three things: subject, doer of an action, the actions which is done by the thing, that is called subject; object, the receiver of an action; and verb, the action word, right? Now, at here, the agreement of verb with subject, the doer of an action word, that is called class. Now, at here, from this definition, we realize that subject to verb agreement is 100% important and 100% must inside the class. If the agreement is not there, then it is called actually phrase, right? This is the difference. And now, but sometimes subject verb would have object and would give us complete meaning. That time we would call it complete class. Independent class. Independent means like not dependent on someone else to complete its meaning. But sometimes it gives us not complete meaning, incomplete meaning. And then it is called dependent. Why dependent? Because dependent on some other words to give us complete meaning. Now, let's see again, and then we are coming to the class kinds. There are two kinds. Okay, and then they are divided into subcategories. Class means the agreement of subject in a sentence to its verb. If the verb agrees with the subject, it is called class. There are two kinds. One is called independent or complete class. The other is called dependent or incomplete class or subordinate class. Now, what is the reason that we have divided the class into two categories? The reason is simple, that if the sentence, for example, if the sentence gives us complete meaning, for example, I am giving a lecture. So fine, this is a complete meaning. But if I say, if I give a lecture, now I use the word if, that means agar. If I give a lecture, now this is not a complete meaning. So what will happen, right? Now what will happen arise in our mind if any sentence leaves us confused, if any sentence arises a question in our mind, like what will happen or what? Then it is going to be considered the dependent class. Why? Because it actually needs some other words to complete its whole meaning, right? That's why it is dependent on the other words, while the independent is not dependent. Okay, now in independent, you can see the example, the first one. He bought a car last week. Now it is fine. He bought a car last week, so fine. The complete meaning, the meaning is completed. But if the meaning is not completed, then we call it dependent class. Like, for example, while I was teaching. So what happened? While I was teaching, he just entered into the class. Now this is dependent, because while I was teaching is not giving me complete sense. If incomplete sense is given, that is why at the moment it would be called dependent. Dependent on the other part of a sentence to complete its meaning. If she studies hard, if she works hard, so what will happen? Now again, if something arises in your mind by reading any statement, any sentence, that is called dependent. There must be also some other part of a sentence to complete its meaning. That is called dependent class. I hope it would be clear. Yes? Yes, Fancy, is it clear? And Mavish, little bit idea you got?
Yes, sir, I am here.
Yes. Okay, let's go through the kinds. There are three kinds, and those are very easy. Dependent class is divided into three categories: adjective, adverb, and noun class. And each is having its different idea. Firstly, we have adjective class. And adjective class is also called relative class. Why? And now, what would be the function of adjective class and how we would recognize that it is adjective class? Actually, adjective, you know the definition of adjective, that modifies the noun, that tells us something about the noun or pronoun. And the adjective class would do the same function of adjective in the sentence. For example, a subject-verb agreement would act like an adjective clause, like an adjective. How? Read the definition again. A subject-verb structure or agreement would work as an adjective in a sentence. Is called adjective clause. For example, yes, these are some other names which are given to its interrogative. It's not, and some key points regarding the adjective class. Let's have some examples for adjective class. Yes, the teacher who teaches at Calc's Academy is my best friend. Now, the referring word which you referred and use for the noun is actually a relative pronoun. But it here, the whole class, the whole part of a sentence is called relative class or adjective class. Why? Because this who is actually modifying the previous noun. And we studied in parts of speech, when a word modifies something, noun or pronoun, that word is called adjective. And here, the whole part of the sentence is modifying this noun, the teacher. So if the sentence is modifying something, we can call it adjective class. Right? Now, adjective can come at different position. At here, adjectives, sorry. Yes, at here, adjective come at the subjective position, right? It is directly come after the subject, the teacher, who teaches at this academy, right? Anyhow, the simple definition for the adjective class, if you use who, which, that for any of the noun to modify the noun in a sentence, that moment it would be called adjective class, right? Okay, these are the subcategories in an adjective class: subjective case, objective case, oblique case. Like adjective can come here, class can come here, class can come here, right? In objective case, let's see the another example. Look at this example. Some animals which people are killing now. Now at here, let's leave this remaining part. Some people, sorry, some animals which people are killing now. Now the animal is noun and the modification of noun would be done by adjective, but at here the whole sentence is modifying noun, like which people are killing. If the sentence tells us something about noun, listen it again. If the sentence tells us something about noun, we would call it adjective clause. Why? Because adjective modifies the noun and adjective clause would also work like as an adjective in the sentence, right? So at here, which people are killing now? It is an information about the noun, right? The instructions about the noun, which is provided to us by the adjective clause, the relative clause, right? So this thing you have to keep it in mind, that it would actually modify the noun. It would tell us something about the noun. Okay, listen, look at this example. Ali thanks the people whom he received the gifts. Now from whom, which is modifying to the people, is actually going to make the rest of the sentence adjective clause. And what is clause? Subject verb agreement. Where is subject verb? He is subject. Received is verb. The agreement of these two is called clause. Also with the rest of the words to have its complete meaning, right? Anyhow, you would have the idea now that whatever modifies the noun or pronoun is called adjective. And if the words, many words modify the noun and pronoun in a sentence, that would call adjective class, right? So at here you have little bit differences regarding some of the words which can be used as an adjective, and for where and for which thing you are supposed to use. Who we use for people, who we don't use for things. Who is only used for people, and who can be used in the position of subject, the first position in the sentence. Who cannot be used at the end? Yes, it can, it is possible, but it would be considered informal. Oblique case, it is also informal as a complement, if you can understand, right? At the end again. Next, whom. Whom is used for people. Whom cannot be used for things. Like I have many mobile phones. Whom are very good? No, which are very good, right? Now, this differences you should understand. Which is used for animals means for the living animals, right? The cat, the dog, the cow, buffalo, etc. And also for things. The cat which I have is very pretty. The cat which I have. You cannot say the cat whom I have. That would be wrong, right? Whom is used for people, which is used for animal and things. That is used for people, animal, and thing. That I met a boy that was very good. Now, that I use that was very good is a relative class. That is adjective class. Why? Because it is telling me something about the noun. What is noun? Noun is the boy. Now, the information which is given to me by the boy. Okay. Sorry, just give. Sorry for the inconvenience, right? Now, any part of a sentence that modifies the noun is actually called the adjective class, right? Okay. Then we have, yes, this is a little bit in details discussion, but let's have this. Our meeting actually took a lot of time. That's before the starting of a class. Anyhow, we can just parted it into the next discussion. And here, adjective has two main kinds. One is called embedded, right? You can understand by the sign, the indication which I am making. And one is called unembedded, little bit distance, little bit idea, just the conceptual meaning. Embedded means if the subject is used and the class is directly used after the subject. But unembedded means the adjective class is used after the object. Like for example, the book which, we cannot say the book who, the book that, yeah, the book that is also right, which is right. Okay, which for thing and the animals. The book which is mine is on the table. That is right because used for the book, and it is indicating the noun, so it is called adjective class. And it is embedded because embedded means directly after the subject, the doer of an action in the sentence is used. Sorry, the class is ending. Try to join on the same link for the remaining discussion only of the class. We have yet discussed the noun class and adverb class, okay, a little bit more. So you're requested to join it again. The session is just to an end, and it will be important.